don't publish on Amazon, at least not exclusively. With the rise of AI and the way just Amazon has been going lately with fewer and fewer royalties if you're in a KDP Select, and a lot of people getting banned left and right, it won't be long before it's a very bad idea to have your business dependent on somebody else's business. Like if you were to go on Shark Tank and pitch your business, and for your business to work, you had to be 100% reliant on somebody else's business. And not only that, but you would be paying them a large percentage of your royalties, and they could shut you down at any point or make a change in their algorithm that completely undermines everything you've been working hard to do. You would literally be laughed off the show. It's just not a smart move. So instead, we need to make sure our author and publishing businesses act in a way that are similar to the way other small businesses have been running their businesses successfully for decades now. And the traditional publishers were the real business making all of the decisions. Well, that hasn't worked out so well in recent years, but recently with the move to self-publishing, even though there is more control in the hands of the author, that business model has moved from traditional publishers over to Amazon. The only difference is that we have a little bit more control over the marketing, and we get a little bit higher royalties with Amazon as well, at least for now. So we went from being reliant on traditional publishers to being reliant on Amazon, and book publishing is one of the only industries where the overall market has been so dependent on other businesses. And yet in other businesses, a lot of these tactics would be inconceivable. Inconceivable! It's time to actually become reliant on ourselves and have a really, truly sustainable business, at least as sustainable as we can possibly make it in today's economy. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through a proven business model that I'm going to be implementing into my business, specifically my publishing business. This model is actually already in place for this, the Nerdy Novelist business, and it's working quite well. In a previous video, I showed you my 30-year goals for my business, and so this is the follow-up to that to show you how I'm going to start out by creating, hopefully, a 7-figure publishing business. One of the things that I talk about with the members of my membership is this idea of treating your author career as a business, and one of the mind shifts that you have to do that is to shift from saying I am an author to saying I am a publisher. Even if you only publish your own work, you need to think of yourself as a publisher, not as just the author. So for starters, for this plan, I'm actually going to be implementing what's called the linchpin plan. This is a book by Russell Brunson, who, as many of you know, is a favorite of mine for marketing information. And he has this really good model that isn't really his, right? It's a model that has existed for literally, actually probably centuries at this point. And this is the kind of business models that small businesses have been incorporating for years and have been truly successful. Businesses like Sports Illustrated, Dollar Shave Club, even Russell Brunson's own businesses himself use this model, and it's incredibly powerful. So let me break down exactly how this is going to look for me specifically, and maybe in the future it's something that you and other people could implement as well. So this is a kind of simplified version of the linchpin as I have designed it for my specific business. So we have two different forms of traffic. There's organic traffic and there are ads. I put Facebook ads here, but really any kind of ad can work. Those are really what all forms of traffic boil down to. This right here that you're watching, this YouTube channel, is a form of organic traffic for the most part. Currently, at least for my Nerdy Novelist business, I do not run any kind of paid ads. All of my traffic comes from the YouTube channel, but that could change at some point in the future. With the fiction side of my business, my publishing business, I plan on probably starting with the ads and then moving to organic instead of the other way around, which I've done with this business, because I want to make sure that if it's profitable with ads, then the organic traffic is just going to be golden. Because organic traffic, while it takes a little more time, it requires a lot less money than paid traffic does. So the idea is to get organic or paid traffic into an opt-in. So this is some people call it a tripwire or a reader magnet, where it incentivizes people to sign up for your email list in exchange for something free. So I have a bunch of books that I'm creating right now, and the first book in a series is what I'm going to offer up as a freebie. Which one I end up continuing to use will depend on which one performs best, but I'm going to be testing all of them in some way or another to see which one gets more people onto the email list, and then probably focus it down into the one or two that perform the best and really just stick with that one for the most part. So if we come down here, there will be an email welcome sequence, which is designed to sell future products, but there will also be other things in there. I have weekly newsletter options here, so adding things like a story Bible entry, if I publish a new article or something like that, any personal news, book recommendations, all of those would go inside of the email. Primarily, especially the welcome sequence, it would be designed to sort of share my story and also sell the rest of the series or other offerings that I have. So at that point, they're on the email list. But as they are getting onto the email list, they will be immediately taken to another page with an upsell. So they just got a book for free, right? With the upsell, they'll be presented with the entire book series. So they'll have the option to buy the entire series. I'm planning on creating audiobooks for this, so they could buy perhaps a bundle that includes both the ebook and the audiobook, just to make it seem like a bigger value. And there might be other add-ons that we can add on to here, such as coloring book pages, concept art, videos of me, maybe a webinar of me. We could create some kind of like documentary video content like I'm creating here. I could create public domain. I could create a lot of what I do has to do with real world myths and legends. And so creating some specialized personal versions of the public domain content for that might be something I do here as well. The point is, I'm creating a big bundle. I'm creating something that seems really awesome and something that is of really incredible value to encourage people to sign up. And what this does is it pays for the ads. So if I can get this to break even or exceed the cost of an ad, meaning the cost it takes for me to acquire a customer through ads is less than the price of the upsell, then I can basically run ads all day and I'm never actually paying anything because I'm getting paid from this upsell and it's covering all of the costs. And that's why I'm just going to be starting with ads, because if I can get ads to be profitable, then when I run organic traffic through this, then I'm not paying anything. I'm just getting all of that money from the upsell. Now, I want to stop here for a minute and just say that this is actually everything I've explained to you so far is going to be all I do for a little while. I'm not going to move on to the next steps until I have actually been pretty successful at this particular part of the model. And the reason for that is because I am expanding a library of content. So what I'm in the process of doing right now, and one of the things that I'm going to be documenting here on this channel, is the process of turning myself from author to publisher, as I mentioned earlier. And part of that process is I kind of envision my publishing company as being a little bit more like something you would see in DC Comics or Marvel Comics. So this idea that we have established intellectual property that is mine, that I create, and getting other authors to work in it. And so I'm going to be having an eclectic mix of content here, some of which is written by me with AI, some of which is written by me without AI, some of which is written with a co-author and myself, some of which is written by ghostwriters. The idea here is I just have too many book ideas, and I'm at a point now where I can afford to hire a few people here and there or work with co-writers, which is a different arrangement, with the idea of really expanding my library of books very aggressively. All of these, even the ghost written books, are based on outlines that I provide and stories that I really want to tell, all kind of part of a shared universe. This is why I think of this as a DC Comics, Marvel Comics kind of thing, because those are, for the most part, shared universes with multiple authors participating, and the authors are usually paid on a for-hire basis. Sometimes there are royalty agreements included in there, but they don't own any of that content. The publisher owns it, which in this case would be me. So as I expand all of that library, because it's a shared universe, I can use those things to really increase the upsell value of this step, the upsell, right? And because I can do that, I could offer, like, for instance, I have a flagship series that I'm working on, and I have a couple of like trilogies that take place before. They're kind of like prequels, but not directly tied in to the flagship series, but they do take place in the same time period, different characters. And so if I wanted to, I could really enhance my upsell and say, hey, get these 9 books over these 3 trilogies for an additional, whatever. And that just increases the amount of money that I can get, because I can just do that upsell. You can even have more than one upsell, although I think you should probably not go farther than 2. So once I have this big library that I'm creating from myself and other authors, the idea is to move into this next step, which is called the MIFGI. MIFGI stands for Most Incredible Free Gift Ever. So once I have a large library, the current plan is for this MIFGI to be a couple of free books. So probably like 4, 5, 6 books that are completely free, that'll get people to sign sign up for a subscription plan. So this is what we call the level 1 continuity, and I have a level 2 continuity here as well. That'll be a little bit more expensive, but the level 1 continuity, at least as I currently have it planned, will include things like perhaps a monthly newsletter. So this could be something that's digital or sent in the mail that'll have like some interesting things. It'll be basically be like a small magazine for my world. I'll have a timeline and just like lots of really cool explainer videos and things. And this is coming straight from the author, so I think readers would be interested in a lot of this stuff. I'm thinking of having videos about mythological locations, since mythology is my thing. In fact, I'm going on a trip later this year to England to go specifically to a few Arthurian sites and taking some footage there so I can create a couple of videos like this. I'll have some archives of public domain content, archives of some pulp content that I have in there, and all of my concept art will be in there, access to a wiki that I use, and there might be other things that I put in there. I have a whole lot of ideas for what could work here, and as I have discovered when putting together my own membership for this Nerdy Novelist channel, a lot of things shift as you kind of figure out what works and what you can reasonably do that people actually want to consume. So that's something to keep in mind as well. These are all just ideas, not necessarily things that I am for sure going to do. I'll show you another vision of my Arthurian universe here in a second. But once that is sort of established at a sort of lower price point, then I will incorporate a second continuity level, so a second higher price subscription. This will include meeting with me more directly. It'll involve a lot more direct access to me. This is why it's a higher price. So there will be weekly calls, and the people can actually have a say in what happens in my books to a certain extent. We can actually discuss it and do a lot of things there. Any virtual or in-person events that I have will also be selling this level 2 continuity as well. So for instance, I have an idea for a really cool kind of high ticket in-person event where people could come with me to the mythological sites, and we do like a kind of like a tour of certain mythological sites with me, the author, and it would be a much higher ticket thing. But at the end of that thing, I would also be selling people on the level 2 continuity if they weren't there already. And that's the high ticket kind of event. I might have other virtual or more, localized event as well that would sell that level 2 continuity. Additionally, if you're in the level 1 continuity, you would be sold on the level 2 continuity to upgrade there. And if you're in the level 2 continuity, you'd get everything that's in the level 1, etc. And the idea, like once this whole thing is in place, I get people in through my email list. Some of them will buy the upsell. When they buy the upsell, they'll be taken to a thank you page that sells them on the Mifki, which then takes them to the level 1 continuity. So that means that I'm getting a steady stream of people, some of which are going to be signing up for the continuity. And the continuity is really important because subscription programs are the single most stable form of business revenue that you can have. Because if all you have is like a book series, even if you have, like in my instance, like a course or something that you're selling, even a high ticket course, like some of the $1,000 or $2,000 courses out there, someone buys it, then they've bought, and you're not getting any more money from them unless you create another course. And if you stop promoting that course, then your money dries up because nobody is buying your thing anymore. Whereas with continuity, if you get sick for a month or 2 or 3, I had a incident in 2020 where I was sick for 4 months, at least some of your revenue is going to remain there because you have a continuity set up, and it won't just disappear overnight just because you stopped promoting the course or whatever it is that you're promoting, the book series. And of course, there are going to be people that don't take the upsell and don't go to the Mifki in level 1 continuity, and that's where the email list comes in. That's why we get that portion of the business model up here up front, because the more people we can get into the email list, the more we can nurture those people and introduce them to the idea of the Mifki and the level 1 continuity, and any upsells that we have. All of that can be sort of done a little bit longer term inside of the email list. And of course, people can opt out, they can unsubscribe, and then they're off your email list. But for the most part, you're going to be getting quite a few emails through this opt-in, especially if you're running paid ads to it. So that is the overall model. Again, my next steps for the near future is to build up my library of content. And I'm doing that through writing myself, through working with ghostwriters, and co-writing a series with one author in particular that I'm working with, who is an amazing person. And I'm really excited for what we're working on together. All of that will end up creating a lot of assets that I can use to make this whole thing work. Because that's the secret to making money. You spend money on creating more things that will make you money. So that is my overall overview of what I am going to be doing in the near future. This is a plan that'll take me at least over the next 5 years or so, all working towards that 30-year goal of being the next Walt Disney. So if you liked this video and you missed the first one and you're thinking like, what's this guy talking about Walt Disney for? Go ahead and check that one out. I'll have a link to it here so you can go and see my entire vision for the next 30 years or so and how this fits into that plan. So check that out and I'll see you in the next video.